Facebook started. It's preparing, they say.
Meeting is live stream. This is not like live.
Wait, it said
on Zoom. You see, the meeting is live. I think we're live.
yeah, we're live now.
We're live. Great. So, hi, Salwa.
Hi, Solvega. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing well. Hopefully, we figure out this live streaming, but it will be nice if some of the participants will tell us that they can see us. Hopefully, they can. I see the Facebook.
Wait a second. You're doing well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Salva. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure for me to like, you're such an ambitious woman. And honestly, it's such a pleasure for me to have you today. So, okay, we can start.
Mhm.
And hopefully everyone will join. Okay. So, I love your journey so much, and I would love to hear about you. So let us know more about you.
Sure. So my name is Solveiga and I'm from Lithuania. And what I feel we are talking today about the passion and how it led where we are today. So I've always been passionate about helping others. I worked with refugees, I worked with homeless kids, I work with high risk youth, I worked with immigrants. I did a lot of volunteering, but I never thought to be a speaker. I never thought, even to write on the social media. I never thought, to be, having conversations like this for a global audience. But I feel very strongly about to making other people's journeys easier than mine. I feel very strongly about helping others to get comfortable to being visible and sharing their stories because I know how difficult can be. I feel very passionate about showing that being an immigrant does not make you less worthy, but it expands your world. I also feel very passionate connecting others of opportunities and mentoring and coaching and helping and seeing them to grow. So yeah, grateful to be invited here. And I just was wondering, Salva, like, how did even you find me? We are coming from a different parts of the world. We live in different countries.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
honestly, when I was on LinkedIn, so I saw how passionate you were. You're trying to help the women, help the youth. You're trying to give your experience. So we had a lot of things in common because both of us are looking forward to helping people, and not only looking for the like how much we get paid. No, we're looking for how much we make an impact on the community and the society. And it was so thoughtful what you're doing, honestly. So it's so inspirational what you're
Thanks so
doing.
much.
And not a lot of women have like a message that they want to send. So we're not like bloggers or vloggers or we're influencer on something like a product. No, we're giving real life skills. And this is like nowadays it's so hard to find, especially in women that have a message. Like they have a message that they want to make other benefit. They want to make other learn from their journey. They don't want them go through this hardship and so on.
Thank you so
So
much. And both of us, I think, connected because both of us were speaking in this Women in Tech conference. And that
yeah,
was
by the
such a
way, that was your first session. Like, was this your first session? Like the Global Women Tech Network, was this your first try in speaking in public or wasn't?
no, not wasn't first, but still like, like in my first conference, I was invited last spring. Before that, as I mentioned before, I never even considered speaking at all. Being on the stage or being in front of a camera, even seeing myself was really the worst thing because when I would come on the stage, I had the fear of public speaking, but when I stutter slightly, but but people don't notice. But when I would come on the stage, sometimes it would be become visible. I will start having difficulty when saying a word and will feel really uncomfortable. I just would want to get out of the stage as soon as possible. And
An important point, if I'm gonna like stop you there. How
so,
do you overcome this fearness of being shy, stutterness, all of this stuff? How do you overcome it?
well, I still do it, but now like it almost helps me. What I mean, what it helps me, that almost like, I see that all the things that prevented me for speaking, my accent, my grammar mistakes, that stuttering, that, discomfort or like in the stage or, that my voice starts, trembling or something, or I don't feel as confident. It almost helps me now because I see that what it makes me different. Like I even like recently I was speaking in three disruptive try events and they are hard. They are like almost TED Talks. You have to do presentation in 5 minutes. The
Oh,
slides move
a
every
lot of
15
pressure.
seconds, so it's very short time. So in the past, if I would come, probably it will be 5 minutes till I start even speaking. So now I start speaking. If anybody who listens my presentations, yeah, they will see that sometimes I stop, or sometimes, yeah, like I probably was the least confident on the stage, or I was the only who stumbles. I was the only who had an accent. Everybody was an American. But then actually that makes me different. It actually helps me because I talk about it. Imposter syndrome. I talk about what it's like not to belong. I talk about what it's like to grow up in the Soviet regime, or I talk about immigrant experiences.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
then, like, if I come and then suddenly I am the most comfortable person on the stage, then it will sound fake. But now, like, it sounds real because if I come and talk about challenges about the accent, and when I don't have any accent,
Yeah,
they will say, "Who is this person?" And also, like, now, I think what it changed the most that in the past, I was focusing more on how I look and how other people perceive me. Now I say, well, this is me. This is me. This is how I speak. I am not for everybody, and that is okay.
I
But if
think you won't ever learn, like if we're gonna give a message to someone, you're
mm,
never gonna learn unless you come out of your comfort zone. Like
yeah,
if you're gonna stay in the comfort zone, you're never gonna learn,
yeah,
right?
and also like and I think what it helped me, I come and I say, well, if my message it will resonate at least with one person in the room, that was worth it. I don't try that, I think probably I will not be for everyone. And then what it helps me at every time I speak, I have several people coming and people writing messages and seeing that actually it is the reason that people can relate, and there are like a lot of people who also like stumbles or stutters and we don't feel comfortable or we have an accent or we fear not getting hired because of the accent, or like we have here public speaking and then suddenly we say, oh, actually I saw you and I said I can do it too,
But
like
I
because
think
we
the
see
problem
somebody that
nowadays, but I think
yeah.
the problem nowadays is not the accent. I think nowadays is like the experience and the skills. Like how much skills do you have? How much experience do you have? Or what's your opinion? Do you think the language is a barrier?
Language, I think, is still barrier. Like I think in some ways it's also like a barrier in our own minds. Like a lot of things, I had, and it was like like now, like as I said, I still stumble or stutter, but it doesn't happen, for a long time, or it's almost not noticeable because I don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
When I was paying that, sometimes we used to be, we can be our worst critic. And when we start paying attention to each mistake, what we make ourselves, then, things get wrong, go wrong,
Yeah.
then
Like
suddenly,
focusing more on
yeah.
the grammar more than the speech itself.
Yeah, and
Like we could say, like an Egyptian way, we do is like focusing more on the grammar. Like, how, is this in the past simple? Is it in the past perfect? What is the tense for this sentence? And then we start speaking, so you feel like you're trembling because you don't know, like you're putting the things like had plus past participle plus whatever. So I think like having confidence and speaking normally
mhm,
is much better. Not thinking about the consequences. Like, what are
yeah.
the people gonna say? The people think I have an accent. People are staring at me, they're laughing. So, let's say if I want to become a speaker,
Mhm,
in your opinion, like, I'm gonna answer this after. Like, in your opinion,
yeah.
um, to become a speaker, what skills do we need to have?
First, you need to have that courage to step, to the stage and say, okay, yeah, this is me, and yeah, I may not be perfect, I may not be as good as all others, but I have a message that maybe it's important for somebody in the audience. Having that purpose, I think it's really important because that gives you courage and strength to do what you do. I think
Yeah,
that's most important. Second, comes to the practice, like my first speech, wasn't like now I got better. Now I feel more comfortable. I start speaking slower, but it had a lot of practice. I practiced over and over again, like, for that even 5 minutes speech, I was just sharing. I practiced myself, I recorded myself, I saw where, and then I practiced maybe, I did a recording and I sent maybe to 10 or 15
have
people and I say,
okay.
can you
So
give
you
a
have
feedback?
we have things in common. When the first also
Yeah.
I was super shy in the beginning.
Mhm.
So when first started to become a speaker, I
Mhm.
used to record myself, to look at myself and see how am I doing? Am I good? Am I saying something good? Look at myself. Am I
Mhm.
stuttering? Am I looking like from the skills I say it's really important to become a speaker is having confidence, knowing your material and knowing what you're talking about, knowing the culture as well. Like I cannot give a session somewhere and I don't know the culture of the people around me. So that's really important. Also, knowing my material is amazing and also making like time for the people to make a conversation going on because people get get bored by the time they're only listening, and also have the courage to speak
Mhm.
and look at the people in the eyes. Don't feel like I'm looking in the ceiling because I don't want to get distracted with the lookings or someone's laughing. So yeah, I feel like becoming a speaker, it's something needs a lot of confidence. But to let everyone know, in the beginning, we weren't speakers like professional speakers or so. Okay,
Mhm.
I want to hear your journey. Like, was your first session perfecto?
No, like, my first session actually was a podcast. And because I met this one person and he told me, Solvega, you have to be visible. For to be successful, you have to be a speaker, a thought leader, influencer. And I didn't tell anybody anything, but when he said, come to my podcast. And then I told, like, look, I have a fear of public speaking, so I don't want to speak. Speaking is the worst nightmare for me. For leadership, there are a million people who better for leaders, and influencing. I'm not even interested, to posting or. And then now, like we met after a few years, and he told like, look, Solvega, you're already speaking at a global event, so it means you're a speaker. People inviting you to speak, so it means that you're a thought leader in that area, and there are 6,000 people are following you, so it means you became an influencer, and it happened in a short time, and you told that it's not for you. So I think the message I want to share today with the audience, that a lot of things that we think that are not for us, when we start doing, we can figure out that actually we can do it. And
Yeah.
yes, no, it will not happen, in the first time. We just talked before how long it took for us to be invited. And Salva,
Yeah.
can you share about your own experience? Because I loved your story. So can you tell how long did it take you to be invited for the first time? And mhm,
So technically, I wasn't invited. to become a speaker, because when you start your journey, no one knows you, like, and I didn't have in mind, like, this is my first time ever live streaming on Facebook. You saw the difficulties between you and me and how we were struggling to go
Mhm.
live. So yeah, everything was behind the curtain. So my first time ever, I was just an organizer, and you're organizing events, you're on the booth, you're giving stickers, you're giving brochures and stuff like that. I felt like I don't want to only stand on the booth. I want to do something different. I feel like the people standing on the stage, they're giving a message, and I also have a message to say. I'm not just gonna stand and be a live comedian or something. I'm gonna give real knowledge. So I felt like being a teacher alone wasn't enough for me. I want to be something like in addition. Like I love being a teacher. This is like something I love so much, being a teacher, as well mentoring people. So one time I was like organizing an event, and honestly it was out of my state. Like I'm in a state, there was in a different state in Egypt. So I felt like this is my start. I have to do something. For the people who are watching, it wasn't easy. No one told me, come Salwa, here's an invitation, come speak. No one knows me. I'm still in college. So I was texting them about the things, the updates I did with the organization and so, and then I told them, can you by any chance give me like a talk? I was like, did you speak before? No, I didn't speak. So how come you're gonna speak in a big conference like this? Can you give me a chance? Sorry, the chances are for other people. Then after, did I leave them? No. I know other people could think, oh, I cannot do that. Like, my dignity. And so, no, there's no dignity in the beginning. Like, when and I'm not doing something against my dignity. I'm just like trying to find a path. And it's hard in the beginning. So, when I give them any updates, I used to, in the end of them, I was like, did you change your mind? Did you change your mind? So in the end, let's say, uh, and they got sick of me. Okay, so they just said, okay, Selwa, in the end of the session or the end of the day, we're gonna give you a talk. It's only 15 to 20 minutes maximum. I was like, thank you very much. So unfortunately, we know in the end of any event, most of the people are gonna be like not there anymore. So for Allah, like Allah loves me, alhamdulillah, what did he do? There was certificates in the end of the day for the attendees. So who left came back. So my session had a lot of people, and this was my first successful session. And unfortunately, I don't have it beside me now,
And what
but
did you
I
talk
have it.
about? What was that
I like
speech?
my keychain. It was about like the experience, how to work on your soft skills, how to present. Because I struggled presenting, so I wanted to teach the people in a short way. And by the way, my first talk ever, it was like I was holding a golden microphone, so I have it as a keychain because to remind me about where did I start. So yeah, it's not easy. Start the first
Yeah.
ever beginning, but it's something remarkable, honestly.
Yeah, that's incredible story, and it's just like I think for anybody who listens, that actually is really important. If you feel something really passionate about, and this is something you see the purpose and the need, not to give up. Because yeah, for me, the beginning was also very hard. After that first podcast, I started getting messages that I didn't expect it. I start getting messages from other immigrants say, please, continue. You talked about stereotypes very openly. Nobody talks about those conversations are important in organizations. And then I talked to my mentor and I said, how can I talk? I completely hate, it. And I cannot even watch that recording because I saw all the mistakes I made, how uncomfortable I was. And then he said, like, well, think about all the people who rely on your message. And if not you, then who will? And then yet was the same as you, Selva. Like I applied everywhere because I thought every conference in HR I go, nobody talks about immigrants. There are almost never an immigrant speaker, or sometimes it would be an immigrant speaker, but who grew up in the States and who already don't,
Not
English is
considered
perfect.
as an immigrant anymore. He's a
Yeah, considered
yes.
as an immigrant.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about immigrant. We will talk about maybe organizational culture, hiring. We will not talk about immigrants. So when I applied, I got rejected. But then I start asking why I get
Okay, so a
rejected.
point, because everyone hears. Um, how many times did you get rejected?
Oh, I don't even know.
It was
But
countless, right?
yeah, and people would say, "Oh, you applied. I applied to the state HR conference." We said, "Well, you applied too high. Yeah, always, we have plenty speakers. You should start somewhere small group, and you go to bigger group, and you go to the city level, then the state." And he said, "How can you apply to the state level?" And then I will say, "Well, nobody talks about it." And I want to talk about. I feel very passionate. I want to make impact for other immigrants. And then they will say, well, keep practicing. Keep
Yeah.
practicing. And I say, I said, you don't know how much I practice, and I practice. And then, like, I was starting posting videos on LinkedIn about immigrant experiences, writing posts. And then this woman I connected, she was a founder of Expat Women group, and she's organizing these conferences, global conferences, that invites a lot of other expats, immigrants, because she talks about experiences living abroad.
Is this
And then,
the group you told me that you inspired to start, right?
yeah, and then she
Yeah.
says, you talk about living abroad. I like your post. Would you like to come to speak? She
So you
invited me.
inspired them. You inspired them, and they started the group, and they started
Yeah,
sharing
and
your message. Yeah.
yeah, and then I spoke. Yeah, and what happened, Silva, like I didn't expect that I this one editor reached out from this magazine in France and said, "Oh, I liked your speech the most. Can I feature you in the cover magazine?" I said, "Oh, like that's incredible, but why me?" She said, "Well, I just
Who's gonna
love
say
your
no?
talk."
Cover
Mhm.
magazine. Why you would say no? Of course, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then one person said, "I really love your speech. Let me recommend to this global HR conference." So actually, my first conference in HR was global.
Yeah.
And then, Salva, this is where I saw actually there are plenty of people like me. Almost everybody had accents because it was a global conference. Some people didn't even speak English, and they still were speakers because there are translators.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, my message about like how organizations can support international employees was relevant for the conference organizers. And yeah, like when the second conference was international, I got to Lithuania. And then the third was the biggest conference in the States, Society of Human Resources. So yeah, now I joking, that but people not to listen what other people say, because I say I didn't apply too high, I applied too low. I needed to apply right away to global conferences because yeah, sometimes we don't know where our start will be.
I remember my first global conference was with Anna,
Uh,
and
uh,
honestly, I just graduated, So when
uh,
people told me this is impossible, because the sponsors were like Amazon, Google, Disney, and
yeah,
like all of those, like those are like brands. So how are you gonna be a speaker with those brands? So yeah, I
yeah,
know it.
yeah.
Yeah, but I had confidence. Like, when you have confidence in yourself, it doesn't matter anything else. So honestly, I applied in 2019 because this was my first experience in a global conference, honestly. Since then, everything started to become global. So we have in common that we started with like we had a
Yeah.
session with Women Tech Network. So after it was in 2019, I found out I got accepted in 2020, and I was like the first Egyptian to speak in this conference. And
Oh.
in the global, like I was the only Egyptian as well. So, and she was like, Anna had a video conference with me alone, and she was talking to me. I was like, oh, Egyptian women speak? Yeah, of course we have a voice. Of course. What's the thing? And she was like, before she accepted me, she needs first to know if I can speak English. So
Okay.
yeah, it was like solo, and then she was asking me about the topic I was mentioning. I was gonna talk about, because I was talking about the first time it was about self-motivation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes when you want to give a message to yourself, but you don't listen to yourself, but you like, when you give it to someone else, then you start listening to yourself. This like feeling?
Yes, yes, yes,
know?
yes.
Like when you feel like you give an advice and someone follows it, then you follow your own advice in the end. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I listen to my recordings, I say, oh my God, I'm saying good stuff. Why I'm not following that things that I'm saying, you know? So
Yeah.
after she met with me and she said like I got accepted and I spoke in that event, honestly, I knew a lot of people and it started the connections with everywhere. So yeah, the start is not easy. It needs a lot of consistency,
Yeah.
following up, not feeling depressed that maybe I got like a session today, no one talked to me, no one invited me, so I'm a failure. No, it's not like that. Because all of us, like both of us, maybe we have the same path. We started no one knowing us. We just like
Yeah.
posted here, going there, applying. I applied countless time on jobs and things, and in the beginning, I didn't work like with a teacher job or with anything that like I told you
Mhm.
yesterday, we were making our discussion that I started as an English teacher for kids, something that's not my passion. And I don't like grammar, honestly, or
There
phonetics
you
or
go.
grammar, you know? So, um, it- when I went through my passion and I started working on it, you felt the glow, you know? You don't feel the glow unless you are working on in something passionate. But let's ask you something.
Okay.
Think about working on something until you find the passionate thing or how to make money or how to like something in general. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, so I think you definitely sometimes you have to do both, and especially if sometimes you have no choice. Like when I came, for example, to the States, I had a degree in industrial psychology, but I didn't have nobody even called for the interview. And my first job, was in a store, paid $7.50 per hour, but I needed income. So definitely was not my dream job. I had a degree,
Not your
graduate
dream,
degree.
to be more
I said
accurate,
this.
not your dream money.
Yeah, but not dream even money. Like the money was also very low, but I needed income. But what I found like in any job, you also there are skills you learn. So for me, it was good, to develop getting speaking a lot of the customers, so my English got better. And then like you also see how you can move up. And for me was first like I got a paid internship. I also like later start mentoring others. Before I find the mentors, I start mentoring others because when I failed so many interviews, Alva, I cannot even tell how many interviews I failed. When I came to the States, I think after I applied to 1,000 jobs, I stopped tracking because I thought this is too discouraging.
It- this
But
is this is so encouragement. This is a great encouragement to say it out loud because like
yeah,
because people feel
yeah,
like if I failed in an interview, this is the end of the world. Not
yeah,
knowing that
but
this is a step closer to your dream.
yeah, and you know what happened? At some point, I've realized that the people who rejecting me, some of them will like even finish my interview after first question, or they will not return my voicemail. And then I thought, I can do better job. Yeah, my English is not perfect. I don't have as experience, but I can do better job in interviewing because I will not like, treat everybody the same. I would listen to that person. I will respect. And then I said, okay, I'm going to go to every interview, no matter if I'm going to not to find a job, but to get better in the interview. And then I stopped paying
Okay, so
attention.
I'm gonna just ask you a question here.
Mhm.
Did you try looking for your weaknesses and why you're getting rejected, or you just keep going with your same self, same skills and everything?
Yeah, so then, like, yeah, like, it's a good question. I asked a lot of recruiters, oh, can you give me a feedback?
Yeah,
And
that's great.
everybody will say, oh, no, you're perfect, you are good, like the way people don't say it.
What if I'm good? Why you're not taking me?
Yeah, yeah,
Why
yeah,
are
they will say,
you
but
accepting?
somebody was better.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
luckily, then I found one recruiter just in one event, and I told him, I said, look, every interview I go, I fail. I probably can do better. He told like, oh, let's meet, maybe I can help you.
Yeah.
And so when I met with him, I'm really still great. I'm still in touch with him after
Yeah.
more than
Amazing.
20 years. I'm still in touch with him because I just did a video thanking him because basically he told me everything I did was wrong. He said, look, you're not
Oh,
telling your story. You're not selling yourself. Your answers are too short, too brief. Give better examples, provide more details. I want to know more. And then I realized, yeah, when I start going to interview and start analyzing my own answers, I will come back home and I say, oh, here, like, I think I told good story. Here, I didn't know how I will answer that question better next time. I start practicing of others and I got better. And then, like, when I start interviewing others, I've realized that there are a lot of people making the same mistakes. And then I start mentoring because I said, well,
I
I said,
understood it.
I think I can help you. And people say, oh, like, sure. So I became like that recruiter who starts helping others because I knew how hard it is. And I saw that especially other immigrants when making the same mistakes, we sometimes don't give an example, don't tell their story, don't share about their passion. And we talk sometimes too much, too little, don't give specifics, and that's why we don't get hired too, not only about experience, but also about interviewing. And that led me, to that passion for mentoring, and yeah, I got better. And yeah.
Honestly, I feel criticism, like for my personality, I thought in the beginning criticism was something bad. Like if I criticize you in the end of this session for something, or you criticize me, oh, this is bad. Would someone criticize me? Why don't they say I'm good and that's enough? So after that, I thought like the best thing was criticizing, but in a positive way. Like, for example, I'm giving a session now, so we're chit-chatting. This is a panel discussion. We're not giving direct information, but for another session, there's going to be a limit of time. Like, for example, someone told me before, work on your time management. So
Mhm.
this is a good criticize that I take later on in my sessions or something. Like, oh, you have a 20 minutes to speech. So I make sure that 15 minutes I'm talking, 5 minutes I'm listening to the others people opinion and so on. Other feedback, I call it feedback. We could call feedback better, not to criticize. So they told me also you're supposed when you're in like I'm in Egypt, so I'm supposed to speak Arabic more, not English. So sometimes the criticize makes you a much better version for yourself, right?
Yeah, and
Like you said, you're
yeah.
in touch with the person who told you what you're wrong, and like, you didn't feel bad. You like this is the only person you appreciated more for telling
Yes,
you.
and yeah, and because everybody was, I think we were like, they saw that we didn't want to hurt feelings or didn't care, because we don't provide feedback. We're afraid to get lawsuits or something in the States, and we will say, oh, like you are like amazing or good job, please continue doing, you'll get it. But what I like about him, he says, no, like look, you're not telling a story. I want to hear your story. And then also like at some, initially I was just talking about the degrees I got. I talked about my experience. And at some point I've realized, like one person said, why you just tell about all these things you're struggling of? And I started talking about like all the things, like I said, look, I went to so many interviews. Every time I applied, but I feel passionate about the field. And this is what I done to achieve it. I started mentoring. I got a second master degree. I got certificates. I took every opportunity to learn. And I started mentioning all the things I do. And then because I said that, because I felt very passionate, I want to help others. And then people, when you start talking about your passion and the struggles you have, then people could relate because it's your story and they will say, oh, actually, it's impressive. I like that you don't give up. I like that it's such a good
And
resilient
also,
story.
they feel like they're the same, but they didn't have the courage to stand up for themselves. They're like, they're waiting to become perfect. Like, the most
Yeah.
problematic thing in the youth nowadays, they don't want to go to the chance they have because they're waiting till they are perfect. They're excellent. So this is very wrong. In my opinion, I
Mhm.
go through the chance, I work on myself the best I
Mhm.
can, I learn. It doesn't matter if you fail, if you don't have the much of experience. You're gonna learn through the journey. But if you're away from the journey and you're waiting to become better, you're never gonna become better. Or what do you think? Working on your experience first and working on yourself and then having a job or having a volunteering opportunity, or what, or joining and trying and failing? What do you think?
I think the way like you think is the same way I think. I think the more uncomfortable is, the more valuable experience is. So
Yeah,
for
coming out of
example,
your comfort zone.
yeah, the same, interviewing, I was the worst. I failed every interview. Now I help others, and it helped me to help others better because I made every single mistake probably. And I was really bad at networking. It was really uncomfortable for me when I came to the States networking. Now I really love connecting people with opportunities. This is the best experience for me. Public speaking, I still working on, and still like not like a lot of speakers, but I still get invited and I speak at a lot of events, including here. Like this is incredible, speaking in people in Egypt. It's another side of the world. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's not about actually all the things that makes you the least comfortable. That's a sign for you to learn and grow.
Yeah, I say if everything was perfect, you would never learn and you would never grow.
Yeah.
If everything was perfect, like once you do it, it's perfect. Where are you gonna learn from, or how are you gonna grow? So you have to fail, do mistakes, and so on to learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think we
And
talked about.
Salva, like, I want to ask you one more question. I know that you also very passionate in this, the same as me, doing mentoring. And what is the biggest mental block do you see in people that prevents them from pursuing their dreams, what they're passionate about?
So the barriers of, let's say, to talk about Egyptian people, if they are caring for their families, they have to pay the rent or pay the bills or whatever. This is a possibility that makes them cannot pursue their dreams because they are just looking for any job to get paid from. Something else, I could say that people that are wasting their time nowadays, the kids nowadays are wasting their time and everything, and they're waiting until they graduate and say, I'm gonna become a blogger or an influencer, and I'm gonna get money, get paid from this stuff, and brands are gonna pay me. I think this is not a good thing to put your passion towards, I think in the beginning we have to like have a real passion. Like when I searched it yesterday, I found out that yeah, like the billionaires and the are in the
Mhm.
world are not influencers. They're not YouTubers. So, they're all people with knowledge, with real knowledge. So that means becoming a doctor, becoming an engineer, becoming a teacher is something still has its like true message. Because
Mhm.
most of the youth nowadays, you hear them, I'm gonna become a TikToker. I'm gonna become a YouTuber. I'm gonna become a big gamer. I'm gonna get a lot of money. No, but what's your message? You know?
Yes.
So the block is themselves, to be honest, because they're putting themselves in a small barrier. I have to have a real message, how I'm gonna benefit the people, how the people are gonna remember me with. Like, you're gonna remember me with what? Playing games? Playing Roblox? Playing doing YouTube channels, TikTok dances? No, this is not realistic. So the block is having confidence. If you have experienced not that much, you're not that good of a speaker. You are not that good of a teacher. You start this like what the kid when he starts scrolling first and then starts step by step. You also as a grown up, you want to go through experiences, you want to go through learning, training, you want to get a decent job. You have to go step by step. And you have to come out of your comfort zone. Once you come out of comfort zone, everything is going to be brighter on the other side. But to be honest, it's not brighter on the other side from the first time because obviously there's a lot of obstacles along the way. So the best thing is go through the obstacles, learn from them, and overcome them. Honestly, because the obstacles are the most depressing things. You feel like when you go up, like when I told you my LinkedIn The other one had a lot of followers and it got hacked and I lost it. Had all my information, all my connections, everything. So this was like a huge obstacle because after I gained all those connections and I worked on it since 2015, I think, or 2016, I lost all of this. But I got the courage. I said, okay, it's okay. I'm gonna start from the zero. I'm gonna start from the very beginning, but maybe I'm gonna have a chance for something better. I learned from my mistakes, like I told you.
Mhm.
I learned that I have to make my accounts with the phone number to be more secured, not only an email. So we don't learn unless we fail. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing. And I think for everybody who listened, it has a lot of values, like because what you
So
told about like developing skills, you know,
we have a
being
question in the comment
resilient.
section.
Ah,
Judy's
perfect.
asking, okay, can you speak more about getting out of your comfort zone in detail? Because I have faced lots of problems in the specific part. So I'm gonna leave this for you.
Yeah, so actually, I made a promise a few years ago to myself that I will start doing that everything that feels uncomfortable. And that was difficult because that, required me posting videos that I don't even like on the social media, speaking, that was hard. Starting my own consultancy, not knowing if I and when I will make money, but I felt passionate about what I do. Asking for people for help, that was hard because I always self-reliant and I start asking for people who had whom I felt the least comfortable asking. I will go and will be like the most like I don't know, accomplished leader or a speaker or somebody whom I thought they will never respond, and I will reach out to that person and I'll say, oh, like, can I have like a conversation? Can I meet you? I think I will benefit from your advice. And people, and actually, yes, some people will never respond, but some people responded, and I got to know them, and they helped me. And so, yeah, like I've learned that everything I've done outside of my comfort zone, like the way you, Salvatore, told, actually, it was helpful. I got better. I got more experience. I got more comfortable. But yes, it's not easy. It doesn't happen overnight. Like now I go on the stage. I used to be my voice trembling. I have sometimes difficulty even saying a word. I
Okay,
was,
let's say inside of yourself, like, yeah, in the beginning
yeah,
we're crumbling a lot, okay? And we felt a lot of fear was showing even to the people.
yeah. But
Have
then,
a little
like,
bit inside of yourself or you overcome it like 100%.
I think, like I still like, I definitely not the most comfortable person on the stage. I still there is that, but
Not showing
actually,
where.
people don't see that. Now they see that see definitely my confidence more. But the more important, I start enjoying it. I never thought I will enjoy it, but now I'll come to the stage and yes, there is that fear a little, but it goes away maybe in 5 or 10 minutes. I don't think after that,
Likewise.
and
I
then I
still have
start
it.
enjoying it.
I still have it, although I maybe I mentored more than 10,000 people. But
Wow.
every time I stand on the stage, or there's a camera in front of me, like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
most I
yeah.
here is when they're a cameraman, a person putting the microphone and stuff. Because I've been interviewed in a lot of local TV shows and stuff. So every time when I see the camera, I feel like I cannot speak. I want to go home. I can't do this. Every
Yeah.
time. And my mom is like, this is not your first time, and you always say that, and after that, you're like perfect. Why do
Yes,
you
you're
say that?
perfect. Yeah.
Because I don't know why, but it's like something inside of us. So it's
Mhm.
okay because people always ask the question,
Yeah.
why or how can I be confident like you and overcome my fear? To be
Mm.
honest, we didn't overcome it. We just made it like we hid it. We had the ability to hide it better, right? What do you,
Mm.
are you?
I think it's not even like about hiding for me. It almost like now I see my fear as my friend. Because
Yeah,
it helps me to grow. It helps me like and then like even if it is that voice that is still like maybe trembling or something, I see that it's okay. It goes of my message because I talk about discomfort, I talk about that fear, and then it almost makes real. It sounds like
honestly,
yeah.
yeah. What you said, fear becoming your friend, I feel the same way because every time I fear something, I become better because I fear I'm gonna do this mistake. So you focus, so it becomes the best. because you had a fear about mistaking it. So yeah, I feel yeah, fear is a friend of us. Yeah.
Yeah, becomes a peer, like a friend as our teacher, because it teaches to see where we can grow. And it feels more rewarding because like for me, like if I came and I was already an excellent speaker and I wouldn't see that progress, but now it feels rewarding because from a time that was like really horrible and now enjoying, it's a
Yeah.
very big change.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is beautiful.
So if anyone has any question you can ask in the comment section. لو
Yes,
حد
because
عنده اي
so
سؤال يا شباب ممكن تسأله بالعربي
ah,
وانا هترجم بقى وانتوا ايه براحتكم يعني. اوكي يعني براحتكم اسألوا اي سؤال، احنا كده كده بنتكلم على السبيكينج وازاي يبقى عندك confident، وانا هترجم الكلام يعني. Anyway, Judy is thanking you for your
ah,
inspirational story,
thank
and
you.
she's gonna work on that to coming out of her comfort zone.
Yes, it's the only way to do it.
Mm.
Yeah, you build that courage every single time you come on a stage, every time you put the camera on. Actually, also it helped me to do video recordings of myself or like to be on a podcast because I this is where I found that I was the worst critic, I will just see myself on the camera and right away I stop and at some point I say, well, this is me. And when you get used to the camera, it becomes easier on the stage as well.
Yeah, it's like me yesterday when I was positioning the camera more than one time, remember? When I tried to put the camera in a place, I was like, oh no, I don't like good in this background. I'm gonna change this background and so on. So yeah, it's okay. Like, you're trying
Mhm,
your best till you feel yourself, your inner self, you're in your comfort zone. Then you're gonna give like the best you can.
mhm, mhm.
Okay, does anyone have any questions you want to ask Solvega or
Are
me?
you?
They're sending loves and
Ah, and
stickers
by
and
the
stuff.
way, I love hearing you speaking Arabic. It sounds like I couldn't understand a word, but it just was beautiful. It was a nice change.
Really? Okay, thanks. But you have also a second language. So no, I'm just telling them that if they to feel comfortable to write anything in the comment section. So Fatma said, you mentioned fear.
Mhm.
How do you practically prevent that fear from becoming paralyzing or too overwhelming to act on, like specific mental exercises? Hmm.
Yeah. So first, like Jonas said, like helps having a passion and a purpose when you know why you're doing. Even
Mhm.
if you want to overcome fear, that is already a big motivation. I think it also helps like a lot of different breathing exercise that you can start doing daily. And
Amazing.
yeah, you will not see the progress right away, but if you continue doing after a month, you learn how to relax before going on the stage. At least it helps me a lot. Practicing helps because the more you practice, the more
More
comfortable you
perfection.
are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honestly, like she said, paralyzing. Yeah, fear is super paralyzing in the beginning. You feel like you are numb. You cannot do anything. You forgot what you were saying. So
Mm-hmm.
honestly, yeah, exercising and also like when you go on stage, you just don't start talking. You have to like look at all the audience. Like in my opinion, I do that. Like, once you
Yeah.
start to stand on the stage and there's a lot of people, and the most thing I fear in my life is the people with the suit in the first row. Like I don't it makes me so anxious. It's like, oh my God, those people in the suitcase are gonna be like so judgy. So yeah, so you have a panic attack, like, oh my God, those people are looking at me and this much. So yeah, as you said, not only in my house, like, I take a breathe in and out and I like do this be in the beginning before I start. And then I
Yeah.
could sometimes like, oh, I give 5 minutes or 2 minutes for myself while on stage. I'm just like preparing the slides. I am checking the microphone. honestly, I could just go through it right away because I know the people already set up everything. But I'm doing this so I can have the confidence to look at the people, the ages, are they all adults or they're young, so I can know my audience very well and also have the confidence like once I start talking, they will reply to me. They will feel the same. Because if they're adults, you cannot talk about something that is not gonna be like um they're not gonna like feel like it's the same, because if I
Mhm.
talk about TikTok dances and stuff, and all the people in front of me are not like people interested in TikTok, so I'm just like talking, what the heck is she talking about, But if you are in front of youth and you want to grab their attention, and then you just say 6'7", the trend. You know the trend, or you don't know it? See, I
Mm.
think you don't know it, right? My students, once you just say 6'7", they go crazy. So how to grab the attention of the audience is really important. See, you didn't know what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It's a
No, I
trend that
don't know what it means. 6'7".
it's it's a global trend. It's not something in Egypt.
I'll check it out. Yes.
Yeah, it's something crazy. It doesn't mean anything, by the way. But it's like, when a trend comes out, you don't know where it came from or why is it for. So yeah. So this is the idea. When you start a session, you have to make something to break the ice. To do something is like, does anyone know this trend? Or you talk about something they're interested in. So yeah, that overcomes your fear when you feel people are participating in the beginning.
Mhm, mhm. But Salva,
Uh,
like I see that we've been talking for about an hour, so probably
yeah.
it's time for us to finish. And yes, I think thanks everybody who joined. And
Yeah.
maybe this is not our last conversation, I hope.
Yeah,
And
and honestly, anyone who was gonna listen to this conversation later on, they feel free to write their questions and we can reply on them on Facebook, right?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you so
I'm so
much.
happy to have you today, and your speech was so inspirational,
Oh, thank
and
you.
I hope you achieve all your dreams. It was a happy beginning for 2026 with you.
Yes, definitely a happy beginning. Very international beginning. Like I thought like yeah, like recently I had talks with people from Chile, from Egypt, from Lithuania, from the States. I got invited to speak in the conference in Lithuania, the podcast of people from different places. So very international beginning, and that makes me feel good. It seems like my message resonates with people from different backgrounds and walks of
And
life.
inshallah, the people that are my account is also gonna follow your later sessions and so on. And obviously, you're gonna benefit them a lot. You're a great mentor.
Mm. Thank you so much, Silva. And
Okay.
see you
I
next
hope you have a
time.
nice day. You're in the afternoon now, I think, or the
Yes,
evening.
it's 3 o'clock. Yes.
Yeah, for you, we're gonna say have a good afternoon. While for Egyptian people, I'm gonna say good night.
Good night. Get rest for the
Yeah.
next day.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye
Have a nice
bye.
day. Bye bye.